Assalamualaikum. Can everybody hear me?
Assalamualaikum. Can anyone hear me?
Waalaikumsalam. Can hear you, sir.
Nervous saya.
Yes.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you for joining us, sir.
Okay, thank you. Cik Rania?
Yeah.
Am I Cik Rania. Okay. Nice meeting you.
Nice
Finally.
meeting you too. Yes, finally.
Already online? Not yet.
Yes, we're
You
already
see
live.
message or online already?
We're already
Pardon?
online, and I think YouTube can see us as well.
Oh, okay, all right.
So sorry, I'm inside my car actually.
Okay,
I'm going
can
to
I
the
know your name,
PKP
please?
soon, so I need to listen to question.
Yeah, a lot of
Okay.
constraints.
Yes.
All right. Can we begin? Everything okay?
Okay, all right. It should be okay with me.
Okay. Good evening. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to our distinguished guest, our speaker, Sir Muhammad Zainuddin, and Sir Ridwan, the head of Department in Legal Studies, and of course, to my fellow students of TFS IIUM. I would like to welcome you all to this forum entitled Law Degree or Guaranteed Future. I'm Rania Shah, the moderator for this evening. If you didn't know, this forum is actually a part of Melex's ongoing efforts to help keep us law students informed on the possibilities and opportunities of a law degree and how our career might look like in the future. So, before introducing the speaker, I'll explain the flow of today's forum a little bit. The forum is divided into three parts. During the first part, we will be discussing how law students can perform academically. The theme of the second part is all about the internship experience after our studies, and the last part is the Q&A session. So if you're curious throughout the forum, don't forget to leave your questions in the chat box before the Q&A session starts. Before we begin, I would like to invite Brother Noor Arif Wajdi bin Noor Azam for the Dua recitation.
أعوذ بالله الفاتحة أعوذ بالله من الشيطان بسم الله الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين
Amin.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين اللهم اغفر لنا ذنوبنا ولوالدينا وارحمهما كما ربيانا صغيرا ولمشائخنا ولجميع المسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين اللهم إنا نسألك رضاك والجنة ونعوذ بك من سخطك والنار اللهم إنك عفو كريم تحب العفو فاعف عنا وعن والدينا وعن جميع المسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين Ya Allah, Ya Fa'al lima yurid, we express our gratitude to you for allowing us to attend the ceremony of Lexforum 2.0. Ya Allah, we ask you for the safety of our religion and the welfare of our body. O Allah, Lord of the implementing authority, make the days that we have gone through, starting with your mercy, continue with your blessing, and end it with thy forgiveness. And also make the days that we have gone through with guidance, and end with the victory of excellence. Ya Allah, Ya Muhaymin, Ya Aziz, Ya Jabbar, let our effort as a means to enlighten and convince ourselves that the personal safety of either outer and or inner is the prerequisite for achieving happiness and excellence in various fields. O Allah, grant us faith and strength in order to face the challenge of life during the transition period and in the phase of life in this new millennium. Ya Allah, Ya Farij al-Humum wa Ya Kashif al-Fam. Ya Allah, show us guidance and adjust our paths and ways to achieve happiness and glory. Let us listen to people who like the good things. Let us avoid doing the bad and evil things. O Allah, blessing our life in this meeting and gathering and prevent us from harm and unfortunate event. اللهم اجعل اللهم اجعل جمعنا هذا جمعا مرحوما وتفرقنا من بعده تفرقا معصوما ولا تجعل اللهم فينا معنا ولا من يتبعنا شقيا ولا مطرودا ولا محروما ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وقنا عذاب القبور وقنا عذاب المحشر اللهم اختم لنا يا الله بحسن الخاتمة ولا تختم علينا يا الله بسوء الخاتمة وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Okay, thank you so much to Brother Nur Arif for the dua recitation. Next, we'll be continuing the forum by inviting our Head of Department in Legal Studies, Sir Ridwan, to join us in making an opening remark.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Miss Moderator, and of course, we have here Yang Berbahagia Encik Muhammad Zainuddin Omar. I think this is my first program online here, and my job today is actually to welcome our speaker here, which are all of them are CFS Foundation students, and all of them, I believe, they are very, very eager to know what this legal field has to offer to them, especially since they are very new in this field and especially in this very uncertain and challenging era. I'm sure our speaker here today will speak a lot about our legal profession and what is available to them in the future, inshallah. And I think I don't want to talk long actually. And thank you very much, Encik Muhammad Zainuddin, for being able for us today. And I hope all of the students who are with us today, either of course in YouTube Live, to ask a lot of questions from our speaker here and gain as much as benefit as possible. I think that will be all from me. Thank you very much, Miss Moderator. Thank you again, Encik Muhammad Zainuddin, for joining us tonight. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you very much to Sir Ridwan for your encouraging words. Now, allow us to introduce the highly anticipated speaker of tonight, Sir Muhammad Zainuddin Omar. If you didn't know, Sir Zainuddin has a Bachelor of Laws Honours from IIUM Petaling Jaya, where he graduated in 1994. Sir Zainuddin is actually sitting on 26 years of experience, working since 1995, and is currently a legal practitioner at Tetuan Zainuddin and Associates, Peguam Bela dan Peguam Cara. Without further ado, I would like to welcome Sir Zainuddin to the floor to begin the first section of the forum. Thank you so much again to you, Sir Zainuddin, for taking the time to join us today. May I ask, how are you doing this evening?
Thank you, Cik Rahia.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm feeling well today. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. Okay. So, Sir Zainuddin, I'm sure it's well known that law students are under a lot of pressure to perform academically and to be high achievers. So, this brings us to the first question of the first part of the forum. Are there any effective and enjoyable study tips that you did that maybe our foundation and degree students can emulate?
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa yahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. And a very good evening to all viewer of Lexforum 2.0. Okay, I think first of all, before I start, I wish to thank the organizing committee, Lexforum 2.0, for inviting me to share my experience as a former student of IIUM, Petaling Jaya. I graduated in 1994, and I was given to understand today, just now, that this Lexforum 2.0 is organized by the Center of Fundamental Studies, Law. For your information, I myself was a student of the Matriculation Center, Subang Jaya. I think the last batch of Matriculation Center, IIUM, Subang Jaya, before I furthered my study at IIUM, Petaling Jaya, and graduated in 1994. Okay, coming back to your question, I think I believe this is a hard time for everybody. Okay, not only for students, but as well as everybody, the public at large also. But we have to make do with what we have. You have to keep yourself updated. This is a new norm. Okay, everything you have to keep update all your knowledge. You have to go through online, get new knowledge, and the world evolve. Okay, you have to keep on going, enjoy your life. Okay, Cik Rahia.
Thank you for those encouraging words. I'm sure all of us are struggling right now during the pandemic, but I think we'll make do with what we have, like you said. So, our next question is: were there any challenges during your studies and how did you overcome them?
Okay, first of all, I need you to understand basically, I think it goes back to our system, okay, our education system. I think most of us, when we finish our Form 5, we normally, we don't have any clue where should we go, what courses should we take, and we don't, I think, in fact, most of us, even though some of us, we have parents actually practicing as lawyers or judges or involved in any legal professions, but we don't have any clues what actually they are doing. And some parents, what they do actually, they impose, or they tell their child, their children, to take up law or study medicine or whatsoever. But the student themselves, the kids themselves, they don't have any clue of what they are going to actually experience in the future. They don't have any clue of their future career actually. So, like many of us actually, we look at law as what prestige course, okay, and they choose law simply because of they've heard, I think they've seen lawyers, or they have heard that lawyers or practicing law actually is offering a good reward profession, money wise or career wise, okay, and they simply take up the course without any clue. Okay, so this is actually the biggest problem actually faced by most students actually, especially IIUM student. Okay, those days, during my day, IIUM are considered still at the very early stage of their establishment, and a lot of the students actually they take up from, especially from I would say a religious school, okay, compared to other boarding schools, okay, or any just kebangsaan school. So a lot of students actually they come from religious school, from religious background. Okay, this is the biggest obstacle they have, because I myself from religious school, okay, from religious background. So this is the biggest obstacle, because from studying Arabic, okay, suddenly we go to a university where we learn all the courses 100% in English. That is one problem. I think most of the student we have, actually not only IIUM, in fact, most are the local youth also, especially this is this is actually, I would say, the dilemma faced by Malay student especially. Okay, to learn in English, all the courses conducted are in English, and they have to familiar themselves with English, okay, as the medium of language, in especially in law. And we started with English legal system rather than Malaysian legal system. Okay, so this is the biggest challenge actually faced by, I believe, by local student, especially Malaysian student. But over time, I believe they would overcome this, and with the help of all the peers you have there in IUM and all the lecturers, I think by now you should have overcome these problems. And the rest, I think, enjoy your study. Okay, there's a lot of avenue actually you have there to actually to make your study enjoyable. Okay, rather than stressful. Okay, that.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Actually, so Zarudin, it's if you didn't tell me that you struggle with English, I would never have been able to tell. So obviously, what you did has been working for you. So I hope our students can also do that as well. So our
That is
that
actually a dilemma by most of the students actually.
yeah, it is. It is because it's very different. The standards of English from SPM suddenly to law, especially. So I
Yes.
wish everyone luck with that. That actually brings us to our third question, which is
Okay.
very related to that. So, do you have any advice to students that lack confidence in legal studies? For example, they might lack debate skills, or they're not proficient in English, like you said, or they lack public speaking skills. Do you have any advice for them?
Okay. My view is actually uh, enjoy your study. First of all, you need to enjoy your study. Okay. Don't take it too serious to the extent that you burden yourself and you feel stressful at the end that you cannot pick up anything. Okay, I think there are a lot of avenues for you to release to release your stress. You need to involve to me lah, my based on my experience basically. There are a lot of activities in the university itself. Okay, you need to get involved in those activities, be it academic or non-academic. Expose yourself to the public through these programs. Okay, rather than confine yourself to the studies. Okay, based on my experience, okay, I've seen a lot of students actually, especially those who actually feel a bit non-confident, they don't have any confidence in themselves. They feel they're a bit lag behind. So what they did actually, they confined themselves to the library. Okay. So what happened at the end of the day, they might excel in their study. Okay, but they lack interpersonal skill. They cannot communicate with the public. Okay, and when they graduated, uh, they fell far behind uh, compared to all the other peers who actually, you can say, they are more uh, public friendly because they got involved in all the most activities which involve the public at large. So those students who actually excel in their study, okay, because of they put all the efforts in study, but actually they've left behind when it comes to their communication with the public. So you need to get involved in all those activities. You have, I believe, the university itself offers a lot of activities, be it academic and non-academic. Get involved. Okay, make more friends. Because at the end of the day, when you graduated, all these friends are actually they become your contacts.
All right.
Okay, at the end of the day, after maybe like myself, after 20 over years, 26 years in practice,
Okay.
uh, you find some of your friends, assuming from accounting courses or economic courses, they become somebody in their field. Maybe the CEO of the banks or somebody. So you don't have to confine yourself only to law studies. Otherwise, you end up only in your, I think, in your world. You might
Yeah.
be good in academic, but at the end of the day, you lose out in terms of interpersonal skill with other people.
Mm.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, Chiran?
Yeah. That's something I think a lot of us forget. That law is about
Yeah,
everything, not just your studies. So,
yeah,
Alhamdulillah, we have finished the first part of the forum. I'm sure there was a lot of input and new ideas and guidance that's helpful to us law students as we're still going through that studying phase. So, like Cesare said, enjoy your studies. Also, a reminder to the audience to drop any questions in the chat box and to also fill in the Google form for attendance to get your star points. If you do not fill in the Google form, you won't get your star points. Moving on to the second part of the forum, which is slightly different to the first part, as it's more about the internship experience we will go through after our studies. So our first question for you, Sir Zainuddin, is would you like to share your internship experience, or were there any specific challenges that you faced during your internship?
Okay, I think that there's a difference of terminology we use. Okay, during our days, okay, we either call it attachment study or practical study, and after we completed our degree, and then we undergo our pupillage, which is, I think you call chambering period under master. So can I ask you, you are referring to which period? Internship in the sense of practical study or pupillage?
I think practical study, if I'm not mistaken.
Practical studies, okay. These are actually two different things. Okay, during our days, we call it attachment period. Okay, it's actually a practical study. These are the period where you are still undergoing your courses. You still have not graduated from your study. And during your third semester, we call it a long semester, that the university will, I think, require you to do some practical with some of the places where I think designated by the kuliah. Okay, during my day, on the first year, the first year students are required to undergo attachment period with either the magistrate court and the Sharia court, magistrate court and the Sharia court for the first year student. Okay, and for the second year student, we are required to undergo attachment period with, if I'm not mistaken, the BBG, Biro Bantuan Guaman, and the other one, if I'm mistaken, the High Court. Okay, it's a court as well, and Biro Bantuan Guaman. And for our third year study, for third year student, we are required to undergo attachment period with a legal firm. So there are three areas where we have to actually undergo our attachment, and where we will learn the process either at the magistrate court. Okay, we see the process at the court, we observe. Okay, the period is normally about 1 week to 2 weeks. Normally first year 1 week at the magistrate court, 1 week at the Sharia court, and then at the Biro Bantuan Guaman about 2 weeks, and a legal firm as well about 2 weeks. Those days, that was during my day. And this is where you find, I think, the attachment program very helpful. Okay, for you to actually visualize your career. Okay, what actually you want to be, how the profession is, and the real practical, I think, side of your study, rather than what you have in the university. You study all the law, okay, and you don't know how to apply. Okay, but when you go for the practical study, then you can see how it was applied, and it was totally different from what you study in the university. Okay, because what you study in the university is all the substantive law. Okay, you study this law, you study that law, but at the end of the day, when you go out, okay, you don't actually apply the law as it is. It's more on the procedural part, the administrative part. Okay, before you go to the law, you need to undergo certain process, which is procedural in nature. Okay, this is actually the practical part of it. Okay, and you can only learn this practical part when you do your attachment program. Okay, with the practical study. Okay, this is where you see how it was applied. Okay, for instance, you study in the university, you study contract. Okay, there's no such thing as contract when you go in real life, in practice, because when you go in practice, you go to see a lawyer. Okay, the lawyer drafts an agreement for you. Okay, or you go to court. Okay, you don't see actually argument. Basically, what they do is all the procedural matter. They draft the summon. Okay, they serve the summon and they call the case for mention. And at the end of the day, the lawyers argue. Okay, and even the argument, or actually the trial itself, if you go undergo a trial, you will see the action is more on the question and answer session, the examination in chief, the cross examination, and even at that point, you don't see the law. Okay, the law is only applied at the end of all this process, which is at the submission stage. Even at that time, you will see two sides of the story. Okay, law is actually like a coin of two sides. Okay, it can be either way. It depends from which perspective you look at the law and how you apply it. Okay, one scenario can have two arguments. Okay, there are two sides of the story. Okay, so at the end of the day, when you go into a practical aspect of it, these are actually the action is not the substantive law. Okay, the practical part are totally different. Actually, far apart from what you have studied, the substantive law. And actually, that is where it's more interesting. You go to classes, and sometimes you get bored and sleepy because of actually there's no action there. But in real life, you go to court, and you see the real action in court.
Okay.
Okay, Chirania.
So this practical was during the study time, like during the degree.
Okay, during your degree. Okay, during your degree, that's what I said. Okay, in the first year itself, the attachment program requires you go to the court first. Okay, the magistrate court and the Sharia court. Okay, the lower court, Sharia. Okay, so that you can see the action in real life. So that will give you a broad idea of how practicing law is all about.
Okay.
Okay, at court you will see there are two sides. There are two parties. Either plaintiff and defendant, or the DPP, the public prosecutor, and the defense. So you can see both sides, or even you can see the judges there. You can see the role of the lawyers, okay, the claimant and the defendant, and you can see the role of the judges. So in overall, you can have a broad idea how our justice system is all about, how they function. That is to give you a broad idea. And then you go to Sharia court. Okay, they also give you a broad idea of how the Sharia court function. Okay, the administrative part, and as well as the action part, the litigation part. Okay, the advocacy part. Okay, that is during the first year. On the second year, you go to the BBG, the Biro Bantuan Guaman.
Okay.
Okay, you see, then you will see the bureaucracy there, because the Biro Bantuan Guaman is actually part of government.
Okay,
and then you can meet the public, you can evaluate the cases, what type of cases actually can go to Biro Bantuan Guaman. Okay, and Biro Bantuan Guaman, basically, you will do actually more administrative job because of you don't go to court. There you don't do that. You confine yourself more in office. You confine yourself to the complainant, or actually to those who seek assistance from the BBG. So you interview them. So you will have the opportunity to meet the public at the BBG and know their problem. Okay, so that is another perspective. They open up you to another perspective. Okay, to broaden up your I think your knowledge. Okay, on how actually to perceive legal studies. And then on the third year, then only they send you to the legal firm. Okay, when you go to legal firm, then you will see how the application, how they apply law in private sector. Okay, in the sense of practicing law itself. Okay, be it conveyancing or litigation. So you can study both. Okay, at legal firm you can see how the lawyers in action. Okay, you know, because of during first year you only see them in court. They're doing action, whatever they do in court. But on the third year, you went to their office. You can see them preparing their case. Okay, you can see them actually drafting the pleadings, or you can see them all the clerk, how they do action, the drafting, and how they give instruction to the clerk. And even, in fact, you can accompany them to court. So you know the process, you learn the process. That will give you actually a bigger exposure, a broader actually outlook of the whole how practice will be generally. Okay, then you go for your fourth year. By the time you go for the fourth year, I don't know about now how the courses in IIU now, but only in the fourth year during my days, you will study the professional practice and civil procedure, which is the practical subject. Okay, having being exposed to all these practical what is it studies with the respective parties, okay, be it court or legal firm. At the fourth year, you can decide what you want to be. You have already a general knowledge whether you want to join the legal practice, okay, to become a lawyer, or you want to join the judiciary, or simply you want to join basically what I call it legal service, AG chamber, or become a corporate lawyer, join a company. So you have a general idea of what actually you want to be. So this is actually some student actually they did not take the practical study seriously. So at the end of the day, they just look at it. Oh, this is just a university requirement, and then they play around. Okay, so this is important for you to give you a general knowledge of what you're going to study and what you're going to choose for your career, your future career, to which direction you want to go. Because when you study law, they only teach you academic. It's not practical aspect of it.
Okay.
So take the opportunity when they send you for internship. I assume what they call now internship. Okay, learn as much as possible. Observe. Okay, whether that attract your interest most or the other. Okay, Cik Raya.
Thank you. So,
Okay, sis.
are there any about the internship after we graduate? It's called chambering, right?
Okay. After you completed your study, okay, the first year, second year, third year, we call it attachment program, or some university they call it practical studies. I believe now in IUM, I think the most recent word they use internship. Okay, after you completed your 4-year study, you have to undergo a 9-month pupillage period, which is some people they call it chambering. Okay, because of actually those days in England, you will study in the chamber of some master. So that gives rise to the phrase chambering. Okay, you undergo your pupillage in the chamber of masters, whatever the name your master is. Okay, this pupillage is period of 9 months is a mandatory period before you will be called as before you will be called to the bar. Okay, that's part of the requirement under the Legal Profession Act. You have to undergo the pupillage period of 9 months. Then only you will be qualified to be called to the bar. Okay, during this period also 9 months, which is longer than 1 month or 2 weeks during your attachment program, you are actually required to do the work itself. Okay, and even in fact, you may appear in court, and you may appear, you may be allowed to conduct certain proceeding in court as people in chamber. Okay, during the attachment program, you are only attached to the firm or attached to the court and observe. You are not supposed to do any work because your job is actually to learn. Okay, that's attachment program. But of course, some firm they give you some job to do. Okay, but you are not working. You are a student doing attachment. You're observing. Okay, but during the pupillage, you are required to do some job because it's actually something you call it on-the-job training. Okay, you are a trainee lawyer. So to a certain extent, after you have been allowed to after short call, okay, we have a period, we call it a short call period. You are allowed to appear in court to conduct certain proceeding, certain matters. Okay, as people in chamber. Okay, on behalf of your master. Okay.
A lot of us have heard that the chambering is very scary and really difficult. So how does the first day of our chambering look like? What do you do exactly?
Okay. Let me give you some background. I think some of my past experience. Let me share some of my experience. Okay. I did my chambering at the same place where I did my attachment program for my third year study. Okay, the same firm. Okay. So I know the firm. Basically, I know what they do. And then after I graduated, I go back to the same firm because I know them. Okay. And what I did is actually, I did not wait until my result came out. After I completed my 4th year exam, 2 weeks after I completed my exam, I go to the firm and offer myself to work there. And of course, I secure my place for chambering, for privilege as well. Okay. Where most of my friends, actually, they wait until the result is out. Okay, they wait for the result and only then apply for a place. Okay. Okay. I with another friend is actually what we did is actually immediately after we finish off our exam, we go to the firm and secure our place, and we work there as well. Okay. And when the result is out, automatically we file a paper. Okay. So by that time, actually, we have learned a lot because we are working there as well. Okay. And to the extent of what I can say, both of us were retained. I was retained because my former firm was Sofian Syed Ahmad & Co. We have 4 branches. We have KL, Subang Jaya, we have Langkawi, and we have Labuan. There are only few firms, about 10 firms only have a firm in Langkawi, in Labuan at that time. So I was retained in KL, and my colleague was retained in Labuan. Okay. We do a lot of corporate matter at that time, and then we do quite a number of I think offshore matters as well, because we have branches in Labuan. So that is how we secure confidence from our future employer. Okay, because what we do, we offer ourselves to do more than our peers. The rest, they wait until the result, but we immediately after exam, we offer ourselves, and we show that we are serious in our study, and we are serious in our career. Okay, that one way of actually doing it. And to answer your question, some of you I think hear that doing a pupillage is scary. Okay, it actually depends. Okay, my advice is like this. Okay, quite a lot of students actually. I believe you are still doing your CFS, doing your fundamental studies. Okay, most of actually student actually after they graduated, they look for a bigger firm. Okay, but bigger firm, and then of course bigger firm, they can offer you bigger allowance. Okay, but bigger firm actually, they already have you can say quite a standard job, quite a steady job, actually mostly panel job. Okay, so when you undergo your pupillage with those firms, actually they will only assign you to certain department, which is they're doing a standard job. For instance, you're doing a conveyancing or litigation. That's it. You're doing your pupillage for litigation, and some of them actually they're doing for a standard banking panel job. Okay, and you're doing a panel job. Okay, I have a friend who actually doing a panel job for bank. Okay, same like me, 20 over years experience. Okay, they're doing panel job, but at the end of the day, okay, doing a panel job, litigation job, I want to say litigation job, and mostly doing a credit card recovery or high purchase recovery, okay, debt recovery. But at the end of the day, you have 25 years standing, okay, as legal practitioners, as lawyers, but 25 years of debt collection. And most debt collection, standard banking job, okay, most of the time is either judgment in default or order 14, summary judgment, which is actually they don't even go for trial. So over 25 years experience, and you very rarely go for trial. So some of them, they don't even have an experience attending trial, but you are a litigation lawyer, you are a litigator. Okay, so these are actually the problems when you are attached to a bigger firm, when you're doing a standard job. Okay, some standard job for conveyancing, for instance, you're doing only we call it HDA matters, which is a housing developers matters, a standard sale and purchase agreement, which is under Schedule G and Schedule H, is a schedule under the Act. You don't, it's considered a contract, but it is a standard contract under the Act. It's a schedule. You cannot amend anything.
Yeah.
So if you have a standing of 20 over years standing doing a HDA contract, so that will be as good as you are actually, you are only you don't have much experience except doing a standard job. So my suggestion is actually, if you undergo your pupillage, look for a smaller firm where you can do overall, you can do everything. Even to the extent, if I got a friend who actually attach, who they choose a very small firm, a sole proprietorship, to the extent that they can even assist the account to do account. Okay, not only that, they have experience in doing all the legal works, conveyancing matters or litigation matters, but they were also exposed to account matters, to do account, because that will be very helpful if in the future they intend to set up their own firm. So at least they know how to manage the account, how to manage a lawyer's account, a legal firm account, rather than actually you open up a firm, you know nothing about account. At the end of the day, you have to employ someone else. Okay, a legal firm account is totally different from a company account. So even you employ an accountant, okay, the lawyers themselves are responsible to the account. So if you don't know anything about the account, and then that's it, you'll be in deep trouble. So these are actually very helpful if you can, if you do your pupillage at a smaller firm, and you can actually put yourself everywhere. You can do conveyancing, you can do a litigation, and then you can look into account as well. And to a certain extent, legal firm is also a business. Okay, you have to secure a job outside so that you have works to do. Okay, nowadays it's not like 30, 40 years ago. The public will look for lawyers. People will look for lawyers. Nowadays, lawyers look for clients. Okay. Even we take it for banking matter. It's the bank choose a lawyer. Okay. The bank choose a lawyer. So if you do your pupillage with a smaller firm, you can even accompany your master to meet up clients. So this is actually where you build yourself, you build your confidence, and at the end of the day, you have the exposure, the experience. When it's time for you to set up your own firm or to continue your practice, you know how to go about, be it to meet client, to do the legal work, or even to handle accounts, legal accounts. Okay, sis?
So I hope that clears up for everybody what chambering will look like and where we'll actually do it. So don't just think about big firms when you're going to apply for chambering. Like Zainuddin said, smaller firms will need
Smaller
more.
firm is actually better.
Yeah.
Because you will learn more. You will learn more. Okay, bigger firms, they can give you a bigger allowance. But what matter most, experience or bigger allowance? You can get bigger allowance, but you will do only one specific matter. They will put you in one specific department, and you will do that standard for the whole 9 months. At the end of the day, okay, for instance, if you do litigation, debt recovery for bank, you will draft letter of demand at the end of the day, at most until summon stage. Okay, that's it. Definitely during pupillage, okay, if you do a standard banking matter, there will be very rarely trial, okay, because most of the cases is straightforward cases. Even you go for trial, for hearing, it's actually only for summary judgment. So you won't gather much experience there. But the allowance might be bigger than a smaller firm. But smaller firm, you have to do everything yourself. Or in some firm, they don't even have clerk. So you will be the clerk, you will be the dispatch, or you may also be the field clerk. Okay, talking about field clerk actually, in bigger firm, okay, they have field clerk. Those who actually the clerk who doing they assigned to do all the field work, go to land office, to do all the search, presentation at land office, filing summons in court, serving summons. These are all done by field clerks. Okay, most bigger firm, they have all these field clerks. Okay, but when you open up your own firm, your new firm, definitely you can't afford to have all these field clerk. Okay, you may have to do filing yourself. You file a summon yourself. You go to land office yourself. You do the searches yourself. If you don't have the experience to do land search at the land office, you don't have the experience to file a summon at the high court, okay, then that will be a problem. Okay, because when you do your pupillage at a bigger firm, someone else do for you. You only involved in the drafting of the summon, but the filing is done by someone else. But when you do your pupillage at a smaller firm, you will draft the summon, okay, and you will do the filing. And upon extraction of the summon, you will do the service yourself. So at the end of the day, what you will gather is experience, exposure. You know how to draft the summon. You know how to file the summon. You know how to serve the summon. Okay, beside all the legal matters, you also know the administrative matter as well. Okay, so that will be actually enlighten you how to the whole area of practice. Okay, rather than just confine yourself to the lawyer's job. Okay, when you become, I think, owner of the firm, when you practice on your own, you open up your firm. Okay, you employ a clerk. Okay, for instance, but you need to know the clerk job. Okay, what the clerk supposed to do. Okay, if you only confine yourself to lawyer's matter, lawyer's job, okay, you don't know what the clerk should do. So you need to have that knowledge as well. So it's wiser for you to actually, I think, preferably to do your pupillage with a smaller or a medium-sized firm rather than a bigger firm. A bigger firm is actually you have a different agenda, different idea altogether. Okay. You will look for people to work for you rather than you have the knowledge yourself.
Okay. So for our next question is, since you're a legal practitioner now, how is the working experience and how is the lifestyle look like? What is the experience of going to court, for example?
Okay, I always ask my lawyers, basically, to be a lawyer, basically, to be a good lawyer, you need to be a litigation lawyer. Okay, when you practice, of course, there are various division of practice. Actually, you have conveyancing lawyers, you have litigation lawyers, you have corporate lawyers, you have criminal lawyers. Okay, one part of it is actually you are doing your job at office, mostly conveyancing lawyers or corporate lawyers. They do their job in the office, and the other is actually they go to court. Okay, is litigation lawyer, be it civil lawyer or criminal lawyer, they go to court. But to me, to be a good lawyer, an overall lawyer, you need to go to court. Because if you only confine yourself to conveyancing, okay, you are half a lawyer. Okay, you are half a lawyer. Because lawyers not going to court, that means you are not lawyers actually. Okay, in our system we call advocate and solicitor. You are advocate and you are also solicitor. Okay, interrelated. Okay, so all lawyers must be able to go to court. Okay, if you did not go to court, I mean you're half a lawyer. And more than often, actually, conveyancing matter, you have clerk to assist you. And in some firm, the clerk will do A to Z. They know what to do, especially senior conveyancing clerk, they know what to do. So they can do all the file from A to Z, even the drafting of the agreement itself, especially the sale and purchase agreement or the loan document. Basically, loan document, those days, 30 or years ago, loan document, the lawyers draft the agreement. So it's not a standard lawyer, it's a non-standard lawyer. The lawyer draft the agreement. Okay, but nowadays, the bank, they come up with their own standard template, standard document. So you have to purchase the agreement from the bank and then fill in a blank. Okay, which I would say is more of a clerical job rather than a lawyer's job, because you don't draft a clause, not even a clause. Okay, the lawyer is not even draft a clause. You only fill in the blank, which is a clerical job. So the clerk can do A to Z. So the lawyers at the end of the day will only do two things. Witness the signature of the borrower and then advise the bank for drawdown. Even the advice for drawdown is actually, it was typed by a clerk. The lawyers only signed the letter. So what I can say is actually almost A to Z, a clerk can do the file without a lawyer. The only thing the lawyers have to do themselves is actually to sign, to witness the signature of the borrower and to sign off the drawdown letter. That's it. That's for convincing areas. Okay. On the contrary, if you practice litigation, if you become a litigation lawyer, you have to go to court yourself. Okay, you can't expect clerk to argue cases in court, so you have to argue cases in court yourself. Okay, so you are doing actually a lawyer's job yourself compared to convincing. That's why I say to be a lawyer, you need to go to court. And then I always tell my lawyer whether you want to be a lawyer or not. Okay, most of them, they will answer, they want to be a lawyer. Wouldn't you, Cik Rahya? Do you want to be a lawyer?
Yes, I want to be a lawyer.
Okay, but I normally ask my lawyer, okay, if you want to be a lawyer, but don't be a lawyer. Be the lawyer.
Okay.
Okay.
Understand?
Be the lawyer. That differentiates you from other lawyers. Okay. Let me bring you to this fact. Okay. 26 years ago, okay, 25 over years ago, there are roughly about 7,000 plus legal practitioner, registered legal practitioner with the Malaysian bar. 7,000 plus. Okay, that was 25 over years ago. Okay, 7,000 plus registered legal practitioners or registered lawyers with the Malaysian bar, with the bar council. Okay, 7,000 plus. And those days also, local university produce roughly less than 1,000, about 900 to 1,000 law graduates. Okay, less than 1,000 law graduates. Okay, which is mostly come from, I think the majority come from UIA. Then next come from, if I'm not mistaken, from UKM, and then UITM. Those days you call it ITM. Okay, mostly from these four public universities. Okay, other universities are actually they're doing mostly external. Okay, in total, roughly, I would say there would be around 5,000 law graduates every year. 25 over years ago, roughly about 5,000 law graduates. But those being called to the bar every year, 25 years ago, roughly around 1,000 plus. Okay, 1,000 plus. So we just take it, the figure is still the same. After 25 years, 5,000 students, 5,000 law graduate. After 25 years, there would be roughly how much? 25 year time 5,000. There would be roughly 125,000 law graduates. We take it 5,000 a year. But of course, now there's around about 10,000 law graduates every year. Okay, if we take it the same figure, 1,000 every year, called to the bar after 25 years, there would easily be 25,000 lawyers called to the bar for the last 25 years. But nowadays, I'm thinking roughly about 2,000 plus every year. Okay, we take it average. We take it average lah. From 1,000 to 2,000, we take it 1,005. Okay, 1,005 every year for the last 25 years, there would be 37,500 lawyers, new lawyers being called to the bar for the last 25 years. Okay, and they would be, we take it for instance from 5,000 to 10,000 law graduates. We take it 7,000 lah, law graduates times 25 years. They're roughly about 175,000 to 200,000 law graduates. Okay, law student graduates every for the last 25 years. Okay, but the increase of lawyers from 25 years ago, from 7,000 plus to nowadays roughly about 15,000, 16,000. The increase only about 8,000. Okay, there's only increase about 8,000 only compared to almost 200,000 law graduates. Okay, and from 37,000 lawyers called to the bar, but the increase is only 8,000. So where the other 30,000 go? Okay, the increase is 37,500, but where the increase is only about 8,000. But where is the 30,000 go? Okay, this is where I say legal profession is actually, to a certain extent, is a very challenging profession. Okay, it's a very challenging, it's very stressful, and it might as well be, you can say, with highest fatality. Okay, out of 37,500 called to the bar, or that I would take it in average, it could be more. It could be more than 37,500 for the last 25 years. Okay, but only the increase is only 8,000. So I would say the fatality is high. So only the best of the fittest of the best actually remain in the legal profession. Okay, you can see how challenging the profession is, because it's not actually it's not that legal profession is not interesting, but sometimes you must look at legal profession from two perspectives. It is a profession. Okay, it's a professional practice, profession, but at the same time, it's also a business. Okay, this is where I say, enjoy yourself during your study, get involved in all the academic and non-academic activities, meet up people, make friends with all your non-legal students, accounting, economic. Okay, this is where it build yourself, it build your career, interpersonal skill. Okay, because why? At the end of the day, after you completed your 4-year studies, or if you are at the CEFS, after your 6-year studies, okay, you have to go to the real world. Okay, real world is not as ideal as the university world. It's totally different. It's a cruel world. Okay, you may be good in your study. Okay, you spend so many hours in the library. You score 4 flat, dean's list every year. Okay, but if you lack interpersonal skill, you can good in debates. You can argue well. Okay, you can speak very well in English, but you cannot meet up people. You cannot make friends. Okay, that's it. When you go into practice, okay, at the end of the day, you meet bankers, and then some of the bankers, they like to actually to have a social, I think, meeting over golf, or over badminton, or over futsal, and you, on the other hand, spend most of your time in the library. You don't play anything. You don't know how to play badminton. You don't know how to play futsal. Okay, that's it. So at the end of the day, You may be good, but you are, what do you call it? You are alone actually. Okay, like say kera sumbang. Okay,
Yeah.
you don't make friends. So that's it.
He's so cool.
Because most of the time, okay, we have matters whereby the lawyers themselves, I think the bankers, for instance, themselves, they know, okay, they don't need lawyers to draft the agreement for them. Because why? They have their own internal legal department who draft the agreement for them. Okay, what they do, they pre-printed the agreements. They only need the lawyers to fill in the blank. That's it. So no matter how good you are, okay, how excellent you are in your study, but what the bankers want is someone friendly to them, someone friendly to their client, their customer, who the borrower. That the interpersonal skill comes in. Not so much of how well you are arguing your cases. Okay, same thing with litigation. Okay, litigation is basically you may be good in arguing your cases, you may be good in doing your research, etc., etc. But the first thing, actually, the impression the public, okay, your prospect client will have is actually from your, I think, from your first meetup. The first impression comes from your first meetup. How well you carry yourself with the client. Okay, I take it, for instance, there are, I think, a bit a negative perception when we say, especially a Malay public, when they're looking at lawyers. Okay, there are people saying basically something like this. Okay, this is one I think one perspective lah. When they want to engage, when they involve in an accident, for instance, okay, they're looking for lawyer for claims, for accident claims. They will look for Indian lawyer. Okay, this is Malay perception. Okay, the perspective. Accident cases, they look for Indian lawyer. Okay, when they were involved in criminal activities, somebody that or relative caught and charged in court for criminal offense, they will look for Punjabi lawyer. Because why? Accident, Indian lawyer better in accident. Criminal or Punjabi lawyer is good in criminal. Okay, when they want to buy land or they want to borrow loan from banks, they will go to a Chinese lawyer. Because why? Oh, they're good in drafting agreement. Okay, but when they want to do brokerage, they want to sell land, they want to do a brokerage, then they look for Malay lawyer. So that by itself actually give a very bad perspective to Malay lawyer. As if Malay lawyer only good in doing brokerage. But it's the other way around. Actually, there are a lot of good Malay lawyers out there. Okay, but the problem is actually we ourselves carry ourselves in that direction. We don't show to the public how good we are in doing criminal cases, how good we are in doing accident cases, or how good we are in doing agreements with bank. Okay, this is actually I would say a Malay dilemma. Okay, because of Malay lawyer, they never project themselves outward. Okay, they are more self-confined. They do work themselves. They don't go to the public at large. They don't sell themselves. Okay, this is where the problem is. And likewise, what I say, there's 37,500 new lawyers for the last 25 years, and majority of them are actually Malay lawyer. Because UIA alone produce roughly about 300, more or less, every year.
Yeah.
Okay, and local university, I would say maybe about 1,000 every year last time. So the big bulk of it is actually a Malay lawyer. But at the end of the day, you will see a lot of law students actually end up doing something else. Become a teacher. Teaching profession is actually a noble profession. But they deviate 100%, totally out from legal profession. Okay, or doing something else. Okay. There's also another perception, basically, when it comes to public perception is actually, especially among Malay community, when they're looking for, especially when it comes to court cases, like court lawyers, okay, litigation lawyers, when they look for a lawyer, okay, to defend them, to do their claim or to defend them, actually, they look at the vehicle. They look at, okay, if this lawyer, they drive a Merc or a BMW, okay, so this lawyer must be a good lawyer, okay, because why? He is successful. But the other lawyer only drive kancil. So this lawyer may be a bit so-so, because why? It's not doing very well. But that is actually a very, I think, wrong perception.
Yeah.
But the only problem is actually, we Malay lawyer, we don't project ourselves. And more than often is actually, Malay lawyer, when we come of certain age, okay, we are complacent, and then we tend to be more of the employer. We stop going to court. We stay at office, we become a boss and employ a young lawyer, and they go to court. That's why you see more and more now, you see, if you look at senior lawyers, okay, you will find actually a non-Malay lawyers still practicing, still go to court, okay, but not many Malay senior lawyers still available in court, mainly and non-Malays. Because why? These are actually our problem. Because why? We have so much opportunity as far as Malay lawyer, because most bank, if you are applying for panelship, they will require Bumi partners, okay. Likewise, some opportunity also open up for a Malay lawyer for Bumi partner, because of the I think the way how they carry themselves, or the platform they have as a partner of the firm, etc. And they end up doing something else rather than continuing the practice. Okay. What I can say is actually, lawyers actually, practicing law is actually, you have a very wide platform, a very big platform. Okay. For instance, actually, we take it. This is an example. Okay. We talk about government. Okay. We talk about government. Okay. Do you know that actually lawyers are actually involved actively in government? Okay. Government comprise of 3 divisions. When you go on your study, they comprise of 3 divisions. And normally, in I think in your courses, you may call it separation of power or delegation of power. Okay. Government comprise of 3 arms, basically: executive, legislative, and judiciary. Okay. Executive, the ministers; legislative, the parliaments, the member of parliaments; and judiciary, the court. Okay. Executive and legislative comprises of politicians, but judiciary comprises of the court. Who is at the court? The court comprises of judges and lawyers. Okay. Judges alone, without lawyers, the court will not function. The court will not function without lawyers, if there's only judges without lawyers. So law evolve not only in parliament, but also in court. And who actually create the laws in court? Okay. The judges and the lawyers. So we play a very vital part in any government. That's why quite a lot of lawyers actually end up becoming a politician, because we know law and we know how a government function. A government cannot function without lawyers, because why? At the end of the day, if there is no lawyer, there will be no court. And if there is no court, and I mean, we are short of one of the arm of the government. The arm of government is actually the executive, the legislative, and the judiciary. And we are the only one non-politician, non-politics. Okay, so we give impartial views of the law itself compared to politicians. And I would encourage actually all of you law students actually to actually observe and then keep yourself updated with what happened in the country, what happened in the world, okay? But not to get involved directly in politics. You can get involved. You can follow the politics, because why? Law and politics, you cannot keep them apart. Okay?
Yeah.
Because law itself is actually part of politics. Okay? Politicians are executive. Executive administer the government. Okay? But the executive are selected from the member of parliament, which is legislative. Okay? The legislative enact law. They legislate law. Okay? But the problem is actually the member of parliament, they were selected from the public, from politicians, and most of them they are not legally trained. Okay, they don't have any legal background. Some of them of different field, and they don't have any legal knowledge, and they are the one who actually enact the law. Okay, can you imagine someone without law knowledge, without any legal knowledge, they enact the law?
Yeah.
Okay, and then we lawyers, we have to carry that law in court and argue it. That's why I say law is like a coin of two sides. They can enact the law, but the court interpret the law. The court interpret the law, and we lawyers argue from which perspective the court should look at the law.
Yeah.
Okay, the parliament may enact one law, but we give interpretation. But of course, the final say is come from the court. So that is how important lawyers are. If we interpret it wrongly, and then the whole country will take the law from what perspective we give it. For instance, we take it our constitution, our federal constitution. Okay, some people say our constitution is secular. Okay, some people say it's actually I think recent cases, there's a recent case about sodomy, when the court said the state legislative don't have the power to enact law on sodomy. Okay, so there are public outcry, etc., etc., and then there's some Muslim lawyers says, okay, the civil court has taken away the power from the Sharia court, etc. Okay, but essentially we actually interpret our constitution. We give the interpretation to our constitution. The constitution is already there. Some people say our constitution is secular. So to implement, for instance, to implement hudud, so we need to amend the federal constitution so that hudud can be implemented. Okay, but lawyers actually, we argue our way out. We give the interpretation. Okay, the law is like a coin of two sides. My interpretation, you can say, or some colleague will interpret it, essentially, there is nothing in our federal constitution says our constitution is secular. There's no word of secular in our federal constitution. So how come you interpret the federal constitution as secular? And Article 3 of our federal constitution says Islam is the religion of the federation. The word Islam has been mentioned more in our constitution than the word secular. There's nothing mentioned about secular, but there is a mention, there are few words mentioned about Islam. And there's Article 121A also establish the Sharia court. Does that mean actually our federal constitution is actually Islamic and not secular? It was not meant, there's no mention of secular, but there were mention of Islam, there were mention of Sharia court. Okay. And there is nothing in our federal constitution says hudud cannot be implemented. The only thing says, okay, federal offense fall, okay, all the criminal offense fall under the federal, under the federal list. Okay, criminal offense fall under the federal list. Okay. Personal matter, Sharia matter, mainly fall under state list. but it's only concerned on personal law, family law, inheritance law, etc. fall under state law. So if criminal offense fall under federal law, okay, to implement hudud, there's no need to amend the federal constitution. What you need is the member of parliament to enact law, to amend the penal code. What you need is just to amend the penal code. To amend the federal constitution requires 2/3 of majority. To amend the penal code, you only require a simple majority. So this is the importance of lawyers, actually. We have the knowledge and we have to convey this knowledge to the public. Okay, the problem is our member of parliaments, basically, for instance, or the legislative, because they are non-lawyers. Okay, they are politicians. So our government require lawyers because of lawyers is part of the judiciary, part of the judicial system, and judiciary is part of government. There are three arms: executive, legislative, judiciary. Okay, that's why I'm coming there. That's why most of the Malay lawyer, at the end of the day, they cease practice and go into politics. But when you go into politics, when you have interest in politics, you see you're no longer I think impartial because of you have certain interests. You represent certain interests. That's why I would encourage all of you students actually. You can follow politics, but not to involve in politics, because when you involve in politics, you have already aligned to one group. So your view would actually be clouded to one. I think one group lah. You carry the vision of certain group rather than you have a clear picture, impartial view of the law itself.
Okay.
Okay, sis.
Okay, Alhamdulillah, that was our last question from us. Thank you, Mr. Zainuddin, because having someone who's already a legal practitioner is really interesting because for me at least, I don't have any idea what's going on in the legal career. So thank you so much. Before we start the last session, which is the Q&A session, I want to remind our students to fill in the Google form for attendance. So now we will begin the Q&A session. So Zainuddin, these questions are coming from the students themselves. Okay, hold on. The first question is, okay, hold on. They're still compiling the questions. Okay, so the first question is, what is your advice for students that are struggling to cope with remote learning during the pandemic?
Okay. What I would say on remote learning. Okay, I think remote learning by itself is actually shouldn't pose much problem to student, except to maybe a rural area where don't have any internet coverage. Okay, but remote learning itself is actually would actually give you a more flexible hour actually. Okay, compared to having to attend physical classes where you have to wake up early in the morning, go to classes at 8 a.m. in the morning, and then finish off maybe at 9 and rush to another class. Okay, it will be a hectic life whereby having a remote classes, remote learning, actually you can learn through actually emails. Okay, Okay, you can have a Zoom session like this or YouTube session where you can actually look back at the classes, okay, over and over again. And then
Yeah.
again, what I would say, when you study law, okay, actually you don't study the law itself. You read law. Okay? Nobody memorized the act. Nobody memorized the cases. Okay? You read law. So what you need to do is actually you need to know the context. The content come later. When you know the context, then the content come later. Okay, like you draft a comprehension. Okay, you need to know what's the point you need to fill in. Okay, you know the context. Okay, like for instance, when you study a certain subject law. Okay, you need to know the reason behind it, the rationale behind the law. Okay, then you would know the content. So it's most important actually you know the context, why it was enacted. Okay, to me actually, these are the three fields actually you need to know the reason behind. Okay, rather than the substantive law itself. Okay, okay, you need to understand the context. The Malaysian legal system. You need to know the Malaysian legal system. Okay, how the system works. Okay, that tell you how, that teach you how the system works, the Malaysian legal system. You need to actually understand law and society. Okay, how law works in a society, and you need to know jurisprudence. Okay, jurisprudence is actually how the law evolved. Okay, for instance, Malaysia. Okay, we have cases Ramah Latun which rule Islam is a law of the land. Okay, that was decided by English judges. Okay, cases in 1927, decided by English judges in appeal court. Okay, they decide Islam is the law of the land. Okay, but how it evolved? Okay, it goes back all the way back to the Malacca time. Okay, we have Kanun Malacca, where Islam is the law in Kanun Malacca. We have Kanun Kedah. Okay, we have Kanun Pahang. Okay, where Islam is the law. So
Yeah.
jurisprudence actually tell you how the law evolved, where the law originates. So you need to know all these things. The Malaysian legal system, actually, how the system work, the stare decisis, okay, the court, okay, the hierarchy of the court hierarchy, okay, and how it function. That's the Malaysian legal system. Law and society, how the law in the society. So, and jurisprudence. So when you know the context, then you know the context. The rest is actually you can always find out from books or from your readings in internet. So remote learning is actually will give you the opportunity to actually to look at all this information available rather than going to class, because going to class will be a very hectic I think schedule. You'll be rushing for classes. At the end of the day, if you miss one class, you cannot repeat the class again.
Yeah.
Okay, compared to remote learning, okay, some lecturers they can give you via email or via WhatsApp or whatever, or via YouTube, where you can repeat the classes again and again. Okay, and of course you can doing it. You can always do at your leisure time, flexible hour. So take advantage. Take this is a new norm. There will be one time where the AI, the artificial intelligence, will take over. So you have to keep yourself updated and take advantage of the remote learning during this pandemic period.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Cik Damia Hana.
Thank you, Damya. So basically, take the benefits also from remote learning. Okay, moving on to the next question from Ilyana Nazri, can students from other streams choose law stream during their degree and will they be left behind? So like if a student in economics foundation, then they transfer to law and will they be struggling more than law foundation students?
Okay, thank you, Cik Ilyana Nazri. Okay, my answer is no, actually. They will not left behind because of, if you realize actually in every aspect of our life, actually, we are dealing with law. Even during this pandemic period, okay, everybody is talking about PKP, everybody is talking about SOP, okay, everybody is talking about melangkaui, menilai, and etc. What are all these? These are all laws. Okay, everybody is talking about darurat. Darurat is all law. Okay, even you open social media now. Okay, there are a lot of critics, and they have been talking about law. Okay, you can
Yeah.
say, so what I can say is actually, in every aspect in our life, we are dealing with laws. Okay, and law is not like other studies, not like other streams, like economic, where you have a problem, or science. Okay, you need to have the exact answer, exact science. Okay, you need to have the answer to the exact question, exact problem. Okay, but law different from other streams. Okay, we have law evolve, we have our interpretation, we interpret the law, and the law evolve. What the law last year may not be the law tomorrow. Okay, and we
Yeah.
have a lot of economics become a member of parliament, and what they do, they enact law. Okay, and you take for instance in UK system, like what we have today, what we have in Malaysia today, uh, we can go directly for our bachelor degree in law. We can take law as our first degree. Okay,
Okay.
based on UK system, we can take law as our first degree. But if you go to the US, under the US system, you cannot take up law as your first degree. Law is second degree. You need to have some other basic degree first, then only you can take law as your second degree. You can have your economic as your first degree. You can even have a medicine as your first degree. Then you take up law as your second degree. It will be as good as I can say a master degree lah in US. Okay, law is a master degree. Okay, but in Malaysia we are based on UK system, so law is a first degree. So you won't feel left behind because of in every courses we take it for instance economic. In economic, definitely they are subject commercial law. You need to study commercial law in economics. Okay, even you take accounting, in accounting also there's also subject of commercial law. What is commercial law? Basically, is contract law in Malaysia. As far as for law students is concerned, it is a combination of maybe contract law, uh, sales of good or company law. It's combination of all those. Okay, so you won't feel left behind. And then in fact, after the CFS, you can even in fact apply for I think a law stream. Okay, for law to change your courses from other stream to law degree. But of course, you have to check with your kuliah, I think. Okay, for your department. Okay, and even in fact, you take it for STPM student. Okay, those coming direct from STPM, they didn't study law at all during in India STPM, but they can still apply for law. So I believe there is a possibility, but you have to consult your department lah, your CFS department.
Okay.
Okay, Cik Elena.
Right. Okay, the next question is from Ihsan Husaini. He asked, may I ask you, sir, how is your typical workday like? And what do you wish you knew before about your career before you started working?
Can you repeat again the question?
How is your typical workday like, and what do you
Okay.
wish you knew before working?
Okay. Uh, okay. I put it like this. Okay. I also received other offers before I joined legal professions. Okay. But what I like in legal profession is the flexible hour. Okay, the flexible hour of becoming a lawyer. Okay, especially in our own firm, in your own firm. Okay, you can go to work as early as 6 in the morning, or you can go in the afternoon, 12 o'clock, or you can even go in the evening or at night. Okay, you can work from home, but what you have to do is when it's time to go to court, then you have to be in court. Okay, so you have a flexible hour. It would be a hectic hour. It can be hectic. Okay, it can be rushing when you have a lot of job. Then you have to deliver your job. Okay, but at the end of the day, it is satisfaction. Okay, if you work in other field in other profession, for instance, you're working in employment, assuming, okay, you're working in either in court, judiciary, or in legal service, in AG chamber, or in company, okay, or even as lecturer, okay, you are bound by your working hour. That's number one. And then you are bound by the standard is set by someone else. For instance, if you become a lecturer, okay, the standard is set by the department, by your dean. Okay, if you you join the legal service, okay, the standard may be set by the AG chamber, by the attorney general himself. You join the court by the chief judge, okay, or you join any employment, the standard is set by the boss, by your bosses. Okay, but in legal practice, you set your standard. Okay, you set your standard. Okay, for me, what I my satisfaction to me is actually number one, if you complete your job, your client is satisfied, and then you were rewarded for your job. And of all, what I do is actually the, what is rewarding is actually to have your name reported in the journal, be it Malayan Law Journal, CLJ, MLJ, or Law Review. Okay, so that is a sort of acknowledgement that you will have actually. Okay, rather than just the fee. Okay, but some lawyers actually they look for the fee. Some lawyers actually they do less job but big fee. Okay, for instance, I think okay, Isan, okay, some lawyers actually, if you do a banking job, a standard banking job, you do an advice to a bank or you issue a letter of demand on behalf of the bank. You may be charged. You can only maybe charge 75 ringgit a letter, 100 ringgit a letter, or 200 ringgit a letter. Okay, that letter you issued a legal letter, maybe 2 pages, and it may value your fee for issuing 2 pages letter. It may be 200 ringgit or 250 ringgit or 100 ringgit, 2 pages letter. But in some cases, in some instances, you issue a 2-page advice to a client, and that 2-page advice is valued 5,000. They were advised valued at 5,000 ringgit. Okay, there are cases, for instance, if you go take litigation matter, for instance, okay, you act for the bank, you sue cases, for instance, 10 million, okay, 10 million, the bank instruct you, appoint you as solicitor, and you sue the client for borrowing a default for 10 million, for instance. Your fee might be from the bank, maybe 10,000. Okay, you charge the bank pay you fee, maybe 10,000, 20,000, something like that. For 10 million claim or 10 million action suit. Okay, a standard claim, assuming foreclosure. Okay, but if you act in general matter, general litigation, okay, there's a debt worth 10 million. Some lawyers may charge you maybe 100,000. Okay, Okay, and depend on the complexity of the case, some lawyers may even charge you or even might be 1 million, and the client agree to pay 1 million fee if you manage to recover 10 million for them, and the client agree to pay you a 1 million fee, and then you get 1 million fee. Okay, and that will not happen if you represent the bank, because they have a standard fee, they have a standard charge, and they have a standard job. Okay, but if you do in general litigation, of course, the possibility is endless. Okay, so you need to have interest in what you do, actually. So the amount of work actually you put in your work actually will actually represent of how much actually you will get, the satisfaction you will get, the reward you get, the fee you get, and then that's actually to answer the question, how your typical work will be. If you just simply want to finish off the matter, okay, quickly, and you do a shoddy work, and then you won't be busy. But you put more effort, sometimes people will appreciate you more, you will get more job, and then you will get more reward. Okay, and that at the end of the day, you will get what satisfaction you get. Okay, either in reward in terms of how much you will get at the end of the day, or if you're looking for publicity, okay, you can even, some lawyers actually, even you do a small matter and then you appear in media, you give a press statement. Okay, so it depends on how actually you want in your career life. Okay. Okay, the second question, how you had to know about your career and field before it started. That's why I say in my earlier, I think I have told you about the attachment program. That attachment program is actually to give you a broad idea of actually what you want to be in your future. Okay. I hope that will answer your question, Ihsan.
Okay. The next question is from Nuwaira, who asked, is it important to keep our GPA and CGPA excellent as excellent as possible during our degree? And if we just do okay, will it affect our future career?
Okay. For those who actually score in the exam, I would say the bright student, okay, they will say yes, it is important. Okay, but those who come from average student, they will say not really important. Because why? What I would say is basically more than often you see those who score in their GPA and CGPA, most of them, they end up working with people. Okay, because why? They excel in their study, and when they go anywhere, they will be the earliest one picked up by the employer. They will be the earliest one employed by the employer, compared to those who you can say average or so and so. Okay, they will be least attract the employers. Okay, and some of them, they have to struggle, they have to go through all the hardship. Okay, and some of them even open up their own firm and become the employer themselves. Then what they do, they employ this good student. Okay, that's why some people say, okay, the C student become employer, become the bosses, and they employ the A student to work for them. Okay, so what I would say, what I'm saying here is not that it's not important for you to be excellent in your study. You can be excellent in your study, but like I say, number one, enjoy yourself. Okay, involve in all the academic and non-academic activities, expose yourself to the public, develop your interpersonal skill, because of these are what important when you go out in practice. GPA and CGPA, to some employer, to some I think firms actually, they don't look at your CGPA or GPA. If you become a lawyer, you go to court, the judges never ask you what is your GPA, what is your CGPA. They never ask you whether you are Dean's List or not. What is your CGPA? They never ask you. Okay, when you practice. And even to some firm, in fact, nowadays, most firm, when you go for your interview, they don't look at your GPA or CGPA. Because why? When they interviewed you, they will look at your interpersonal skill, how you communicate, how you carry yourself, and how you answer questions. Okay, some students are good in the GPA, in their GPA or CGPA, but they're good in writing. They're good in answering question, written question, but they are not good in answering oral question. They are not good in presenting themselves. So this is if you intend to practice. But if you intend to go to other professions, for instance, you want to join government, yes, of course, you need to have a good GPA and CGPA. Okay, because of they go on merit. If you want to become a lecturer, for instance, of course, you need to have a good GPA and CGPA. Otherwise, the university will not take you up. They will not employ you as a lecturer. And of course, you need to have a good GPA and CGPA. If you want to continue your study, you want to take up your master, you want to continue with your doctorate, okay, your PhD, you need to have a good GPA and CGPA. So it all depends on what you want to do after you complete your first degree. Okay. But if you want to, for instance, okay, I take it for example, if you want to practice law, you want to become a lawyer, okay. Some people, when they complete their study, their first degree, they continue with the second degree, their master. And some, they continue with the PhD. After they got their PhD, then they practice law. They become a lawyer. But by doing so, they lose 6 years of their time. Okay, their peers, okay, they complete their first study and straight away become a lawyer. They will be 6 years senior than the one who pick up their master. And so in practice, basically, seniority comes. Okay, there's no difference between one lawyer to another. Okay, you have LLB, the other lawyer also have LLB. If you can read one book, the other lawyer also can read one book. If you can argue one case, the other lawyer also can argue one case. But the difference is actually seniority. Okay, one lawyer are more senior than the other. Okay, that also counts when you want to apply for your pupillage, your chambering. Okay, you can only do your pupillage with a master, with a legal practitioner who has practiced more than 7 years. Okay, then they can take up a student. Okay, even in fact, last time there was also a proposal by the bar to allow only those lawyers with certain number of years standing to appear before the High Court. Okay, but of course it's not practiced yet. Okay, but that actually affect your seniority. That means if it were implemented, that means only certain senior lawyers can appear. Okay, junior lawyers cannot. Okay, so that's why I say it depends on what you want to be. If you want to be a legal practitioner, to be a lawyer, okay, to be a lawyer, the qualification required is LLB, it's just LLB, and those from external university for the CLP, and then complete your pupillage. That is the requirement. Okay, so but if you continue with your I think LLB Sharia, okay, if you continue with your master, your MCL, your LLM, that is not the requirement for to be a lawyer. It will be added value, but it's not a necessity. It's not necessary. It's not a requirement. So my question is, even if you have an average mark, it will not affect your future career. Okay, it was said basically the late Kapal Singh is only a third class. Okay, it's only a third class, not even honors there, but he excelled in his practice.
Okay.
Okay, so it depends on what you want to be.
All right.
Okay, but don't tell your lecturer that actually I say it's not important to keep your GPA or CGPA high. Okay, you score in your GPA and CGPA, okay, because of that is actually considered part of your achievement. If you can achieve a good GPA and good CGPA, that's actually an achievement by itself. But it will not affect your future career. Okay, Cik
Okay.
Nuwaira?
So we're actually running out of time, so we'll be a bit picky with the questions. So very sorry to the audience, not every question can be answered. But our next question is from Sharifah, who says, Assalamualaikum, sir. In your opinion, what occupation should the freshly graduated students choose? And what occupation in the law field is not so stressful?
Okay, Sharifah, okay, what occupation should a law student choose? Okay, it all depends on what you want to be. Okay, to me personally, I would say legal profession is a very big area. It's very wide. Okay, it's not just becoming a lawyer. You can be in-house lawyer, join a corporate as well. If you like teaching, you can become a lecturer. Okay, but in a way, if you become a lawyer, actually, you contribute to the community itself in a different manner, in a different way. Okay, and it's a very challenging. But in any way, in any event, basically, all other professions are actually you are working with people. You become a lecturer, you're working with the university. If you join a corporate, of course you have to join a company. You want to join a legal service, you have to apply, you have to work under the AG, Attorney General. You join the judiciary, of course, you work with the judges, under the judges, okay? And all these will actually okay, will need you to be employed. You have to be employed by them. Okay? To get employed, maybe you need to excel in your study. You need to have a good CGPA or GPA, coming back to the earlier question. Okay? But being a legal practitioner, you are not confined to any of these rules. As long as you are qualified, you can be a lawyer. Okay? What qualification do you require to be a lawyer? You only need to complete your LLB. That means finish off your study, get your degree, and then complete your pupillage. Once you complete your pupillage, after being called to the bar, then you can practice as a qualified lawyer. Okay, you can be employed, you can work under other people, or you can work for yourself. Because once you were admitted to the bar as an advocate and solicitor, you will own your own practicing certificate. The license is in yourself. You have your own license to practice. So that means you can work for people or you can work for yourself. You can open up your own firm. Even you yourself as sole proprietor, you can practice on your own. You can practice even from your own home, from your own house. You don't have to open up a firm. You don't have to open up an office. You practice from your home. Okay? You can be a housewife. At the same time, you can be a lawyer. You can be selective. Okay, you can choose your cases. You want to pick up one case and don't want to pick up another. You want to do only conveyancing matter. You want to do only family matter. You want to do only litigation matter. You are your own boss. You can decide on your own if you want to be a lawyer. Okay, so it's up to you. If you want to have the flexibility, you can practice as a lawyer at any time you want to be. Okay, you want to work only one day in a month. Okay, you only want to work 1 week only in a month. You can do so by being a lawyer. Okay, but if you work for other people, of course, they set the standard. Okay, you have to clock in your time. Okay, you have to complete whatever job they give you. So it's all depend on what occupation you want to choose. Okay, and of course, if you say what occupation in law field that is least stressful, okay, my answer is simple. there's only one job that is not stressful. Orang gila. You jadi orang gila, then you don't have any stress. Everything have their own stress. Okay, if you see those working in office, after a certain number of years, they want to do something else. Berkebun, farming. Okay, they want to do farming or they want to dusun, buat dusun, kebun durian or whatever. Those in office. But those who do farming, okay, the farmers, etc., when on the other hand, they wish to work in office. They want to be somebody working in office. Okay, this is actually after a certain number of years, you will feel this. I think you want to change the environment, and every work is stress. But of course, you have to manage your own stress. That's why stress management is important. Every profession they have their own stress, but you have to manage your own stress. If you say litigation, it's stressful because you have to go to court. But of course, some cases actually, if you, for instance, you become a criminal lawyer, there's not even I think you are doing a lesser paperwork. There's almost nil paperwork. Okay, compared to civil litigation, you have to do a lot of paperwork. So it depends on how actually you carry yourself, how you manage your stress. Okay, Sharifah, hopefully that will answer your question.
All right. So I'm so sorry to everybody, but this is actually coming to the end. So that was our last question. But since we have come to the end of this forum, we would like to thank you and express our gratitude to Sir Zainuddin for giving us your time and sharing your wisdom and experiences in the legal field. And also thank you to everyone who attended, and apologies for any technical issues or if I ever misspoke. We truly hope that Lexforum has been enjoyable for everybody involved and will benefit all our students in achieving success no matter where they end up in the future. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and thank you so much to everybody.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.